Next, we're going to look at the steering wheel. So probably the first thing that'll come with is going to be the steering wheel display, just to show you guys how to operate that. Typically, if the brightness isn't too good for you, if you move to the left over here, you can see your brightness controls. So you press that up arrow, that'll raise the brightness, down arrow will lower the brightness. And then additionally, if you did use your odometer at all, that'll be right next to that as well. Just to show you that. If you push this, it's only a one button, so if you push it once, it'll bring you to trip A, trip B, and then miles until service. And bring it right back to the standard odometer. But if you did want to gauge the mileage on a particular trip you're going on, you can actually hold the odometer button, and that'll reset this value to 0. That way you can gauge a trip. We'll probably leave it on the standard odometer for now. On this side right here, we've got our volume controls for the media we're listening to, so you can raise or lower the volume. This button, these up and down arrows right here, will actually cycle through your radio presets or the music that you're currently listening to through Bluetooth audio. So just keep that in mind. This mode button right here will cycle through the different radio or audio modes. So if you're listening to AM, if you tap this, it'll bring you to FM to Sirius XM or satellite radio, and then Sirius XM to Bluetooth audio. If you have any discs in the unit, in the car, that'll cycle to that as well. So the mode button will bring you to your different audio modes. Down here you've got your pickup switch as well as your hang up switch, and then the voice command button as well. Voice command button, if you tap it, just to demonstrate, on your screen you might see this. Highly recommend you go to the left over here, push this down, and then hit OK. And then you're going to hear that beep, and you'll see that little wave radar at the top. That's letting you know that the car is listening. And then from here we've got 3 main voice commands that we can input. It's going to be phone calls, changing the audio, or changing the climate. So we can actually say set the temperature to 75 degrees.
I'm sorry, I still
didn't work too well. Let's back out, try pushing it again. Set the temperature to 75 degrees.
Changing to 75 degrees.
And there it goes. Or you can say tune the radio to 99.1 FM, tune to satellite 66, tune to Bloomberg on satellite, whatever your favorite channel is, and it'll actually pick that up for you. Moving over here, on the right side of the steering wheel, this control pad will effectively control this screen right here. So the I at the top left is going to stand for information. From here you can press up or down to cycle through different bits of information. And then I probably recommend you leave it on one that you are most inclined towards. A lot of people like the digital miles per hour that we see right here, or the range on your current gas tank. So you got a couple options there. Press to the right, that'll bring you to the music you're currently listening to. This will bring us to our lane keep assist, and then for our safety stuff, I'm going to go over that in another video. I did make sure that all of your safety stuff was turned on pre-delivery of the car, so just keep that in mind. All of that will be on for you, but I'll go into more detail in just a second. Vehicle messages, so if your gas tank's running low or something's wrong with the car, you'll typically see it show up on here. And then this is going to be our setting screen. Essentially, this is where all the safety stuff is located, aside from in this NX, the auto high beams, and the blind spot monitors. So I'll go over that in just a second. Just want to make sure you guys are familiar with all the buttons on the steering wheel first. So we went over this. And by the way, this button in the center is just going to be a selector. So if you can scroll over to the settings and then push down on this, and that'll bring you to the settings screen for that particular option. Alright, moving down here, this will bring you to the top menu. So if we're looking at music and we want to go to the top menu of this screen, you just push this button, and that'll bring you to the information tab, and then from there you can press up or down. This will bring you out of one of our settings screens. So if you had selected road sign assist as in order to configure that, you can push this button, that'll bring you out. This right here will be to toggle on or off our lane keep assist, where the vehicle tries to keep you in the center of your lane. Now if you see underneath the P, that same car symbol, that means that feature will be on for you. If you didn't like it, some people don't really trust the car to keep them in the center of the lane. I'm kind of like that. So if that's you as well, you can always push this button to toggle that off. And then we've also got our cruise control right here. Now, if you don't use cruise control, this one might be a little bit different from what you're used to. You might like it a bit more because our cruise control will actually slow you down if it senses a vehicle in front of you. To turn it on, what you would do is you would push at the end right here. You would see the green symbol show up on your screen. From there, get to the speed that you would like to set. So say 65 miles an hour, and then you can pull down on this, and that'll set your speed at 65. Now from here, like I said, the cruise control will actually slow you down, so just keep that in mind. But additionally, there is a preset following distance that goes along with that. That's what this button right here is for. So if you push this button, it will change the following distance to the vehicle in front of you while you were in cruise control. So just keep that in mind. Typically, this button has no other uses. Just want to make sure. Turn cruise off when you're not using it. Couple other things on the steering wheel. We've got your light stock. For the most part, I recommend you leave it in automatic. This is effectively our selector. So right here, with this line's pointing towards DRL off. DRL off stands for daytime running lights off. Automatic, of course, which does mean, by the way, totally automatic, so you wouldn't have to really touch it at all. This will be for manual daytime running lights, and this will be for manual low beams. Leave this in auto. Now right here we've got your fog light switch, so of course this will be the off position. Click it up, that'll be the on position. But when it's in the on position right here, as long as this is in auto, then the fog lights will be automatic too. So if you have it sitting like this, you could just leave it like that and all of the lights be totally automatic for you. But going off of the lights, you've also got your auto high beam switch underneath here. You want to make sure that it's pushed into the unit. So this is pushed out, this is pushed in. Make sure this is pushed in, and then if you ever need your high beams, if you push this forward, well, it's already pushed forward. If you push this forward, then your high beams will be in the automatic setting whenever you need it. So highly recommend you have this pushed in, and then whenever you need your high beams, just push this forward and they'll be on but in the automatic setting. Moving over to the wipers. So the wiper is going to be pretty simple. Maybe that's a bad angle. If you click it down once, it'll put you in the intermittent position. From there, you can control the speed of the intermittent with this clicker right here. You can always click it down once or twice more to go into lower high, which I recommend for when the rain is just absolutely crazy. Intermittent's probably good for when the rain is spotty, so that way you can adjust the speed a little bit more manually. And then of course you've got your rear wipers. So intermittent setting for rear wipers, on setting for rear wipers. You can actually blast the rear windshield by pushing this forward right here. So I push this forward or pull this towards us, and that'll allow that to happen. But then additionally, one other thing on the steering wheel is going to be these paddle shifters right here. So you see where it says minus and plus? Those are effectively going to be for our manual drive mode. So if you shift the gears into manual drive, like this, where that little light is highlighted next to the M, then you'd be able to use these paddle shifters to manually upshift or downshift. It looks like they're not working right now because I don't have my seatbelt on, I'm not moving. But if you did have a stick shift before and you wanted to kind of try that out, and the NX got that option as well. All right, that should be about it for the steering wheel. Next I'll go over all the safety stuff and make sure you guys are familiar.